Dynamite Download. Welcome to Dynamite Download, your source for positive coverage of all elite wrestling.
This is what pro wrestling feel like.
I told you guys, positive energy.
I think that created a little moment in itself.
You're saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down like wrestling like he does.
That punk, that long-haired hippie freak.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
People that need to be careful in the locker room.
I definitely think that women's wrestling has been elevated.
And with the loss of Brody, I feel like we were just kind of a little bit directionless.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
Raw horse.
Raw horse?
Oh my god!
Amazing.
I had to smack him around a few times to fully gain his respect.
You said that in front of the voice of a generation?
It was Frankie's match. Awesome.
This podcast is, quite frankly, the drizzling shit, if I'm being quite honest.
They spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome. I love that intro, ripping that guitar solo.
Woo! Let me get my microphone nearby. You know, that intro is always so hot, it makes me a bit thirsty.
Ooh, what do you got himself over there? A cup of haters?
Oh, I got a cup of Haterade right here, and if you notice, this is one of the potential new merch and merchandise for the DDL Familia, the DDL Universe Galaxy. You got your double side, the logo on there, just like the hat. So,
did you? Is that your new teacher's cup?
It is one of my new teacher's cup. I'll be representing Dynamite Download. For those of you who don't know, Mind Runner is back in the classroom. Feel sorry for the youth. And one of my goals this year is to convince at least one student to become an AEW fan. I'm going to see if I can do that. We're going to see how that works out. But everything's going pretty awesome. I had an open house today. The kids are all into Mr. Burden, Bulk Burden. They're excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I did kind of a music video for open house. The parents are like, "Oh, this guy's cool, man." So we'll see how
that's awesome. Well, to piggyback on that, thank you for joining us, everyone, at the last minute switch of the time due to school's back in session, baby. We are going to be switching back to our OG time at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard for the time being, to allow Mindrunner to get his beauty sleep before his classroom or his classes on Friday. But we will be right back in the saddle within 24 hours for our Forbidden Door show, because you got a special thing going on Saturday night. So we're going to move our Forbidden Door show to tomorrow night. Card seems pretty rounded out right now. But we'll make our predictions. And as always, you can change up your bingo card if you send us a DM or a message before the start of the preview show. But, man, it feels good to be back. I missed you all last week. Thanks for holding it down. You and FTD did a great job, and as well as Collision Control Center. Skipper and Gilligan's Island, you had your bucket hat on ready for all weather as well on that. I saw that. But it is great to be back with you all and you, Mind Runner. And a lot happened, man. As I mentioned on my little quick video that you played on Collision Control Center, I was like more specifically talking about Dynamite, but it was like, man, I miss a show and I go camping for 1 week, and then this is what happens. You have Ospreay return, Christian and Cope potentially reuniting for now, enemy of my enemy and my friend for now. But as we heard a little bit more about last night, and so much is shaping up, and wow, it is. It's, as I said in my video, I think Tony Khan really made a chess move over the last 2 weeks with his shows and the way he's booking. And it was just a continuation and really did feel like an awesome go-home show last night on Dynamite.
Yeah, I loved 90% of last night's show. 90% of it. I absolutely thought 90% of the show was great. There's about 10% we'll get into tonight that I might need your help to help me love. because
For sure.
it's kind of, I mean, we're all about positivity, but we're not about blind positivity. We're realists, and there were just a couple things that I need some help to love, but otherwise, I thought it was fantastic.
Right.
I'm a little worried out about our boy Ospreay, but I think it's going to be fine. And yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of good. Glasgow, those guys, the fans are insane there. It did seem like they kind of got tired or died down towards the end, but I thought most of the match. I thought all three of the matches last night. I mean, because
wait, is that it?
There were only 3 matches. There were so many segments, but there were only 3 actual matches. Now, my understanding, I don't want to pay attention to spoilers, but what I've heard, they've already filmed Collision, and Collision has a lot more matches. So I
sent you guys. I sent a few of you the card, spoiler free, and it does sound like a really good card on that. And it's really, as you put that into perspective, it's kind of shocking, but everything had a purpose. There was no wasted time on Dynamite last night. And as much as I love more wrestling, as we're going to get on Collision, everything felt right last night to me. And so when you approach that moment where you may have not been settling well in the stomach, please allow me to be the salesman, and I'll talk you off the ledge on that. Off, man. How do you think the show started?
We'll get right into it too. Let's go for it, and we'll talk about that image a little bit later.
Scratch and sniff.
Yeah, we got ourselves, all the talk about, there was face-to-face Will Ospreay and Moxley. So, first of all, Will Ospreay is the perfect person to lead the Glasgow, the Scotland thing. He had a great promo. He knew how to tie a lot of local stuff in. He's a local boy. He made some local references. I guess there's some kind of biscuit sausage bruv at 4 a.m., which I guess
got me hungry when he was talking about it.
Yeah, and they started chanting it, or whatever the logo was. I thought it
George's
was
sausages or something like that.
Yes, so I thought that was great. Will Ospreay. Here's the thing, Will Ospreay. I don't think he can ever go heel again in AEW. He is because he's so happy to be part of it. And this whole thing with his neck, I hope things work out. But it does sound like he can't miss being in London. And I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be the last we see of him. It will be for a while, but I think we're going to see Ospreay do some incredible things. I think we're going to see, in a steel cage. I think we're going to see him jump off the top. I think he's going to be a daredevil because I think he's kind of looking at it that this could be the last time he's Will Ospreay, that we know. From what.
And I don't think that's too much of a shoot either. And it's no secret that whatever extent of an injury that he has is there. And it was so great as us at home for Danielson to kind of, bring us down to ground level of being like, I had that same surgery and, I didn't come back the same. And that's not a work. Like, any surgery, honestly,
Look at Kenny Omega. I love Kenny Omega, but let's be honest. Kenny Omega today is not the Kenny Omega from the beginning of AEW. Kota Ibushi is not the Kota Ibushi from New Japan. So things do happen, but they're still that person. They still have that personality, and I'm confident Will Ospreay's going to find his way back. But good Lord, was this great?
Right.
This opening, man, was absolute mayhem and chaos. And then, of course, we had, the Death Riders show up, and then we had Jet Speed show up, and then Will Ospreay kidnapped Marina Shafir and allegedly put her in a body bag. But immediately, Full Tilt Deb, right off the bat, Full Tilt Deb goes, "That's Darby." She goes, immediately she knew that was Darby in the bag. And I was like, yep, that's what's going to happen. But it was incredible. This was, and there were some. I saw Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors. One of the guys who was watching me was like, "Hey, isn't that your co-host on Dynamite Download?" So I guess Clark Connors is trying to copy SBD. He just needs the glasses.
That's right. And the hat from Forbidden
Door
or All In.
when you were in Texas with the cowboy hat. Yeah, he
That's
kind of
right.
had a Clark Connors thing going on. But
Right.
I thought that it was interesting because there were some people from New Japan that I that had never been in AEW, and they just kind of showed up but man, that there was this one big dude. I forget his name, but he was walking around beating everybody's ass until Powerhouse Hobbs showed up. He took a swing at Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hobbs was like, "No, son," and then just decked the hell out of him. It was awesome. But we gotta be remiss to talk about Deb's favorite part of the whole night, which was
Danielson on commentary.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Brian, yes. No. On commentary the whole night.
I think well, first off, this opening segment I think was great. Ospreay kicked it off, really heartfelt thing, and it is a bummer if it is true he's got to go for surgery and might be gone. And like you said, you nailed it. There's no way Ospreay. I truly believe, whatever storyline aside, I do truly believe Ospreay's word where it's like, they didn't clear me. I'm doing this on my own. I'm taking my own responsibilities because he seems like that kind of guy. No way is he going to miss one of the most important shows of his life because of where he's gone in the last few years in AEW and how this hometown stuff. Like he's going to risk it all, even if it does put him on the shelf for an extended period of time. Which cross my fingers and toes that he's not, because he's such a pivotal part of AEW in so many different ways. And I really want him to be featured more, and I do want him to be healthy. And he is, like he said, like an alien. The stuff he does is just insane what he can do. But I got what is it? The Bullet Club Gold guys that came out as well. This lights out match is going to be an absolute chaotic, insane mess in a good way. But we won't spoil it too much because we're going to have our Forbidden Door show tomorrow night, right back here on YouTube, X, and Instagram, streaming live. So definitely join us for that. We're going to make our predictions as well as pick our bingo cards. We're officially going to have a bingo card because last time it was just too much going on by that down in Texas. But Danielson, I'm a huge Danielson fan. I love Danielson. And I honestly, biased aside, you got to appreciate what he did. I feel like he did really great on the commentary. He's not a commentator. He's a wrestler. But I think he did a great job giving the insight of it. It's like the Taz effect. Taz has been on the commentator team for so long, but Taz has that insight and gives you that extra little boost of the experience of being a wrestler. It's like, I know, being a short guy or, the suplex and everything that he can bring, it adds a little refreshment to the commentator team of a wrestler being able to talk on certain things, like the way he was putting Alex Windsor over, with her explosiveness and her core strength and things like little nuances like that only someone who's trained in the ring would really understand. So hopefully FTD could appreciate something like that and on it. But I think it was good, and I think it was giving us a little taste, a little teaser, and how Tony Schiavone kept saying, stay in your seat. And, you promised to stay in your seat, like all this stuff. And it's like, he's sitting there biting his lip, when Moxley's walking by and everything's going. So it's like, I don't know. I think maybe it might be a little taste of, might see a little Danielson at Forbidden Door, hopefully. More than just the pre-show.
Maybe we might see Blue Panther again, like we did it All In, have him Danielson put the Blue Panther mask on and sneak out and do something, or what was, didn't he wrestle as a masked wrestler on Dark one time?
I think so.
Like Captain Infinity or some chat. Remind me that he wrestled one match on Dark as a luchador. And that would be interesting to see him make his appearance. That would be pretty cool. But again, I don't know if you saw, but Will Ospreay kind of posted a tweet about his conversation with Tanahashi on trying to get him to come out for this cage match. It was basically, he goes, "Hey, bruv, you want to come to London and do a cage match with me?" And Tanahashi's reply was, he goes, "Will, I have no knees." And then Ospreay was like, my neck is fucked, bruv. What of it? And then Tanahashi says, all right, I'll be there.
I mean, he's on his farewell tour, so like anything goes, which is great.
Yeah, and this is a farewell tour. But the Ace looked better than I was afraid he was going to look like. He didn't look like, I mean, he definitely looked like he was older, you know, like he was in this is his last run, but he had his moves. He was able to do things. He was able to choose spots that didn't require him to, really do much with his knees. But it was really good. And Moxley is a great dance partner for that. I think Moxley understood what Tanahashi's limits were, but I thought he did fantastic. And he did kind of do like a second rope hurricanrana of some sort on
second
Moxley.
rope swanton bomb. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's 48 years old and, you know, on his farewell tour, which is great. Like he's the president of New Japan. And I was expecting maybe more guys or gals to be featured from New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they just put on a banger tournament. So, we'll see. But that aside, like this is a good way to protect the people in that cage match, such as the Tanahashi, the Ospreay, even though it's going to be brutal. Like you have a 5-on-5, like you're going to have moments where you can catch your breath and kind of like pick your spots, which will protect it. And then all chaos is going to break loose. But that's what's interesting to me on the babyface side is like you have Kenny Omega, you have Tanahashi, you have Ibushi and Ospreay, but the one that's front and center is Darby Allin, who has never been a world champ. But he's like the hottest and freshest and the craziest of them all. It's just going to be a lot of fun with that one. But this trios match, the way they segued into it was kind of funny too. Like, oh, they're going to brawl real quick after the face to face, then ding, 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 the bell rang right after Tanahashi hit the ring. So it's like I kind of like that segue. In a sense of just kind of maximizing your time with that. But same thing, like I don't feel like this is a Legends thing where it's like tough to watch and some of the people, but I think it's going to work. And he showed that he can still kind of, I mean, obviously like, 20 plus year career, like it's going to take a toll on anybody. And so I'm happy for him to be able to get this opportunity at his last time performing in the UK.
Absolutely. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm looking forward to this cage match. It's gonna be interesting to see if what Moxley and them are gonna do. But then the second match of the night was the all right. I know, and we really appreciate AEW support of Dynamite Download. We know they listen to us. Are we getting a TLC out of this, or is it just going to be a 3-way? And what do you? We'll talk about the predictions, but the way this match, this is a nitpick. I think that AEW needs to start doing countdowns on matches that are not going to end in a draw, because the moment they say 20 minutes remaining, it's going to end in a draw. There have been 100%. Matches that have gone to 30 minutes or some kind of like moment where then Swerve goes 5 more minutes or something like that. There's going to be one of those things. They need to start doing that with all matches, because there have been matches that have gone 29 minutes and then there was an ending to it.
Right.
The time limit draw. Okay, it's a nitpick. It kind of defeats the purpose of the tournament if you have both of them in there. I would have rather Tony Khan come out and said, "All right, we got to have a decision." So, for sudden death or something like that, and that would have been interesting. But I guess it's going to be something. And is this how the Hurt Syndicate loses the tag team titles without getting pinned? That's something to think about for tomorrow night. But let's talk about the match. I mean, what did you think of Red-Faced Brody and Bandito getting his max back from Stokely? And how many near falls were there throughout this entire match?
I mean, match of the night, 100% was this match of the night. The back and forth, the storytelling, the pure talent in the ring, just incredible by all 4 guys. And it's just evident how amazing the newly formed team of Brodito has been, and their chemistry is getting better and better every single week. However, like, so much to digest on what you said. Like, at first when they started doing time limit draws, I was like, oh, this, I don't like this. I don't like this. But as the years have gone by and they've done more, I don't hate it, because I feel like they kind of had to take a pivot after the amazing matches that Brodito has been putting on, especially versus the Young Bucks last round. And so I think so the tag team division has been really put on notice as of late. And it's evident in this match of the finals with FTR and Brodito. And so I think it is time to move on from the Hurt Syndicate, as much as I liked their run. But I think that teams like FTR, Brodito, Young Bucks, Outrunners, Gun Club, and other tag teams that have been part of the backbone of AEW, it's time for them to get back into the salad bowl of the tag division and really get it going. I don't think this is the end-all be-all for Hurt Syndicate when they lose it on Sunday. But it could. There's some. I don't want to spoil my kind of predictions on what's going to happen. But I agree with you on the time limit. You got to have the draws. So it's not every single time. It's very rare that they'll be like, 5 minutes remaining and then the match is over. But it's very rare that you beat the clock when they start announcing it. So to circle on one thing, like, I don't think this will not turn into a TLC match. This won't turn into any of those. However, these are subtle seeds planted moving forward. We learned about in the promo with Christian and Cope, which we'll talk about momentarily, that Cope has Christian's back versus the patriarchy, quote unquote, and Christian has Cope's back versus FTR. And so FTR was the one who kept throwing chairs in the ring. FTR was the one who pulled out the table. And so I feel like we're seeing the seeds planted of a potential TLC match for FTR versus Christian and Cope, potentially main eventing All Out at the next pay-per-view.
Could be. And I would like to see a TLC with FTR and Cope and Christian and one other team, but I don't know if they're going to do that. Interesting too how popular Brodito has become. It just is interesting that I thought Jet Speed was going to be the takeoff tag team, that the one that was going to get a rocket strapped to him, but Brodito has become kind of the big poppy, and I think a lot of it has to do with there is chemistry between these two guys, like an odd couple. That incredible finisher move that they have, where Brody does like flips Bandito in the air and he lands on the guy. But Bandito is very, like, even with the mask, he's very charismatic, and he's strong for a guy his size, and he's hugely popular. And I think that's. And he's so much fun to watch. So I think that's probably a lot to do with their popularity as a tag team. With Buddy Matthews out, and Julia Hart now is in the Triangle Trinity of Madness. It does look like Brody King's kind of running solo without a house of Hounds of Dragons.
Hounds of Hell.
House of Hell. But him and Bandito make a really good pair. I really like that. And I've told you about how I feel about Stokely with FTR. I've really come around on that too. So I think you're absolutely right. I think Brodito have kind of they've like you said earlier, they've put the tag teams on notice. Tag teams that have been tag teams for so long, they're not putting on matches like this. They're not having this kind of chemistry, and they do need to step it up. But they need to step it up, just like one of the greatest tag teams of all time that reconciled last night, Cope and Cage.
I really love this promo. And so as I was on vacation last week, and then when I rewatched and I saw Cope and Cage hug it out, of course I popped. However, like I almost wanted more of a build, more of a payoff. But circling back to last night, I think I appreciated it more, even though Cope did hug Cage. Danielson or Tony Schiavone or someone said, if you notice when Cope hugged him, Cage's hands were out by his sides. He didn't hug him back. Someone said that. I couldn't remember on commentary. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it's not all happy-go-lucky. And then Cage, I loved his line about, I took some time and I looked in the mirror and I didn't need to change anything. I'm perfect as I am, or whatever. I was like, this is freaking great. So we're still getting that asshole Cage stretched out, which is perfect. Like, you don't want a character swap like that. Like, the way how brutal he was and is, like, it's going to take some time. And I think they're smart with the way that they're doing this and being able to lay the groundwork like they did last night, as I mentioned, like having each other's back for different and separate feuds. And so what he said here, where he's like, you're going to have the best tag team partner you've ever had with this version of me. And they shook on it. I'll look you in the face, even though my word is, is not my strongest point or whatever, or strongest bond. I appreciated that. But at the same time, it's like, there's still going to be so many times for redemption that Cage needs to have. So what did you think about this promo before we got the surprise return?
Yeah. I love it because you're absolutely right. There's no way Christian can just suddenly be a baby face unless he went through a full-on story arc like that took him over a year. But I think this dynamic from a promo standpoint is the best Edge and Christian that we have. Like, because Edge and Christian in WWE, they were both kind of assholes. They were, but Cope has become this person, and Christian has really steered into his person.
Well, you said a key word, though. He's my asshole.
Yeah. Phrasing, buddy. Phrasing. But
Cope said that Cage is his asshole. And it was just funny. It's like that kind of popped me as well, where he was saying that. And I was like, oh, because these two guys have been known to push the envelope, as much as possible, kind of saying those little nuances, and they're saying things that it's almost like a rib to all of us fans or rib to whatever. But like when he said that, and Cope was like, what? They're like,
he said, why are you like this? Like he said, it's those subtleties that there's a little bit of a shoot friendship thing. Like you can feel like there's a little bit of like, all right, hey dude, this is their chemistry as friends is fantastic. You can't stop that. But we all have that friend.
Right.
We all have that asshole friend, but we somehow, they have a place in our heart. They say some miserable things. Sometimes they poo-poo a lot of stuff, or they're an asshole, and you're just like, why are you like this? Why are you doing this? But they're our friend, and there's loyalty, and we have history. And I think this dynamic's going to be very fun to watch. I think both of these guys are kind of they're in their twilight years, both of them. So they want to go out together. And that might be why this storyline got rushed a little bit, is maybe they really are getting close to the end here. But I thought this was fantastic. And then, of course, we found out Nick Wayne broke his leg. But instead, we got ourselves a return last night. Nick Wayne.
I like that you put that picture in the bottom left there.
Yeah, I don't know. Something happened with that. Accidentally put that there. It has no comparison to the picture in the upper left at all.
Do you think we are going to get a Seth Rollins type of moment with Nick Wayne at Forbidden Door?
People are saying that, but he's legit broke it leg. It's legit. It's actually shoot that he's hurt. But
how is the timing so perfect though? Like, unless Kill Switch / Luchasaurus has just kind of been on standby for this moment, but it just makes sense. Like, I love the I think Nick Wayne had a fantastic promo with the crutches and what he had to say. I was like, damn, this is one of his better promos that he's had. Very convincing and very great promo. And into the segue of the vignette of Luchasaurus / Kill Switch coming back to life, man. Whew, that was really incredible when he just rises back up. And then as you see here in the photo there, it's like someone's doctoring up some concoction to bring him back to life. Who could it be?
Who could it be? Now, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are no more.
Right.
But Jack Perry and Killswitch would be quite the team. And I think the original plan was for Killswitch. I still want to be Luchasaurus. I want Luchasaurus. I think the plan was for Luchasaurus to show up at Forbidden Door, and then they had this last minute thing, so that they brought him out. So that's what they did. But I think no, it is Marco Stunt. I was wrong. It's Marco. Come on. Marco is a saint at least in the Mindrunner household. Marco Stunt is awesome. That would be cool if it was Marco with Luchasaurus. No, but I think it's very compelling that Jack Perry, and I can think the story would be the only person that was ever truly loyal to Jack Perry was Luchasaurus or something like that, and have some kind of angle there that he brought him back, and then we have ourselves another tag team. But I mean, or Jack Perry now has himself a Luchasaurus, or Jack Perry becomes the new patriarch.
I mean, it's just like, as much as I would like a reunion, well, yeah. First and foremost, I just want Perry to be back because I thought he was doing some of his best work. And someone posted, I think he's approaching like almost 300 days gone, and which is wild to me. And I don't know if he's hurt or it was just the story thing after he lost the title, but it's a shame he is not back on TV. So I just want him back. Like, would we see him, Wayne, Kip, Mama Wayne, and Killswitch all back together as a faction? I could see it, and I think it could work. And I don't know. I just don't know where that ties into effect. Like, of course, the people are gonna like chant "oh," which was some of the most fun we've had, like with that theme song and all that. Yeah. But I could totally see it where he's just like, you're no longer Luchasaurus, like, and keep to the Killswitch. I think Killswitch is a cool name. And in Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, they almost have a funeral for them. Like, they could see them buried, like have a gravestone that they're being buried. And then they could be just Jack Perry and Killswitch.
Didn't Jungle Boy bury or Jack Perry buried Jungle Boy?
I think something like that did happen. So maybe they can have a grave gravestone next to him with Luchasaurus, and then they can just be like total character redemption as total badass heels for a while.
Anyways, it's got us talking, and it's time for
constant returns. I mean, we got them return, Osprey return. They hinted at Hook returning. It's just like, then we got Ace Austin, as a debut. And
Ace Austin was awesome.
So just like all this is cooking right now, and we with AEW, man, leaning into Forbidden Door.
I think Ace Austin and Megan Bain need to have a thigh watermelon breaking contest, like what Tony Storm was saying about Megan Bain. I think the two of them need to do that. All right, shall we? Let's. I mean, as there were only 3 matches, it was almost like there were a lot of promos. Were there any other promos or storylines that happened that kind of stood out? We had our world champion Hangman Adam Page came to the ring and was talking about putting his leather chaps up MJF's ass.
That was ostrich boots.
Ostrich boots. That's right. It was ostrich boots. And then we had some backstage. Okay. Now we're at the part.
Great job bringing all those photos together.
Absolutely. And, the interns helped me with some of these. They had a bunch already preloaded. I need you to help me find the positives in this particular situation, because it kind of, I don't understand why we did this. And it's again, Hangman versus MJF. I love everything about it. Hangman's having his best run right now as with champion. I had the feeling that, and we may never know, but I have the feeling that this originally was supposed to be with the Hurt Syndicate on Mark Briscoe. but instead of the Hurt Syndicate, it's now Ricochet and the Gates of Agony are playing the parts. Like Hurt Syndicate, maybe there's real heat between Hurt Syndicate and MJF. I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
One, how come nobody, not even the conglomeration who were there, nobody did anything to come rescue Mark Briscoe? They should have at least had a shot where like Kyle and O'Reilly or Hologram or somebody's beat up on the ground somewhere. But I don't understand how they were able to, how Mark Briscoe was able to get subdued. Second, this idea of MJF committing a crime, of course, but we can suspend our disbelief for wrestling, right? But how he got out of his contract thing, if I was Tony Khan, I wouldn't allow this at all. Like in storyline kayfabe, I'd say no. You threatened to murder somebody for this, so no, I'm keeping the steps. Plus, you're going to have an arrest record. But shoot wise, I think that it kills that great moment, because what was so great about last week was Hangman outsmarted the devil. Like that was what was such a great moment, was Hangman tricked MJF into activating his contract. And now it's like, it doesn't matter. And to me, I don't like that they backtracked on that. So whatever they were planning, they must have decided to change. But I feel like that. Now, what I would propose, and I've heard this a couple places, is because of what MJF did, Tony Khan should come out and say, all right, well, I won't take away your contract, but next week at Dynamite after Forbidden Door, MJF has to wrestle Mark Briscoe, and the winner gets the contract, and then have Mark Briscoe win the contract. That's what I think should happen. But help me find the positive in this. Please help me find the positive.
You make some very, very valid points for sure on this segment, because there was such a high moment last week with that face-to-face and the bait and switch and all that. It was such a great thing. So there's got to be some kind of internal pivot with this. So the thing I took away from it, granted, I did not care for this segment as well because of the quick stipulations and the quick agreement by Hangman. Hangman has been proven to be like just this workhorse, no nonsense, badass guy, and he has been with the champ. And so for him to take those sacrifices and demands from this scumbag weasel MJF so quickly, even though it is in all in good faith for the helping out Briscoe, our favorite chicken, that's for sure. But this just leads into the forbidden door of shenanigans. And so I feel like if this could and probably should be the main event, because it is your world title, will allow for so many different options, so many different things that can happen, whether that be some surprise returns, some appearances by the Hurt Syndicate, some appearances by maybe some people we haven't seen in a while, hint on maybe things going on, as well as it does protect that cash-in moment. So to me, there's no way MJF is winning that title there with all those stipulations and keeping the contract. That doesn't make sense. But what I did like about this, I think the redemption factor of this segment was Danielson, how he was saying he's not confident enough in his decision. He's a coward, and there you go, bring it back to Danielson. He said he made very good points about MJF not feeling like he can beat Hangman, and so he's having to do whatever it can for his insurance policy. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, we're seeing this guy in MJF, and trying to take backs. Oh no, take backs. So after the first run through of this segment, I was like, oh man, they did backtrack so much after what they built up last week and the weeks before with this going on. But that I feel like there's just going to be way too many shenanigans going on in the main event now because of the DQ, the count out, the whatever it is. He's going to try to like handcuff him to the entrance ramp or something like that, so he can get a cheap win. And so it's going to be an uplifting win and story for Hangman, but then it's going to be a fun moment for us to have that scumbag heel still with that ace in the hole pocket contract, because I always wanted him to have that moment to try to sneak up and steal a win and anything like that. That's what I love about WWE's Money in the Bank, where it's like at any given time you can do it. And so this is kind of AEW's Money in the Bank, and for them to pre-announce the title matches is okay and fine. However, like I do like a surprise cash in as well. Is he going to do a double cash in?
No, I got an idea, dude.
All right.
This is how I feel. This is how I make this terrible segment so much better and delicious for us.
Bring it.
And maybe this is what TK is thinking. TK sometimes, man, he gets in the good yayo and he's got these long-term ideas. What if the stipulation was on in this whole thing with Mark Briscoe? TK says, all right, because of your actions, we're going to redo the Casino Gauntlet at All Out. We're going to do a redo because you have and now MJF gets to be you have an opportunity, MJF, to win back your contract, but you're going to have to win the Casino Gauntlet again. And you will be first, but number 2 will be Mark Briscoe again. Or 1, 2, whatever, the vice versa. They'll be the first 2. So what MJF's going to do is he's going to get Gates of Agony and Ricochet to help him out. They're not going to be in it. And so MJF's going to go through all these guys wrestling. And then like the last person, all of a sudden, because we talked about we've always talked about this guy. When's he coming back? When's he coming back? And you and I talked about this before we went live on the air. But here's why I think he comes back. All of a sudden, when it looks like MJF has pulled the shenanigans and is going to win the contract back, War Daddy makes his return. Wardlow
almost spit out my water. Oh yeah,
comes back and wins the Casino Gauntlet, gets the contract. He doesn't have to have the match, but can you imagine Wardlow coming back, the huge pop, and then he's Mr. Contract. He doesn't have to cash it in right now, but he's lurking. Hanger can have a beef with other people, but Wardlow's lurking. Wardlow's destroying people, but he's got his contract. I think that's if you're not going to put Wardlow with the Hurt Syndicate, which you need to, I think that would be incredible. Heck, put Wardlow on a tag team with Shelton Benjamin would be cool. But I think let's just bring Wardlow back. Don't waste time with the TNT title. Don't even really the only reason MJF would be even involved in this story just because the oh shit look on MJF's face. But Wardlow gets the pin, wins the gauntlet, and then he becomes Mr. Contract and plagues Hangman. That's my booking.
The past few months we've been fantasy booking a Wardlow return, and any of these, please just give us one of them, because we're just here for it and waiting for it, salivating and just patiently running out of patience for a Wardlow return, especially as much as I don't want to see him intertwined with anything MJF. I would love to see the look on MJF's face when he sees a ghost from the past.
Yeah.
Because that feud when they were two together was one of the best payoffs we've ever had in AEW. Yep. I think it was at Double or Nothing in Vegas where he won, or it might have been Revolution, one of those two. But it was just incredible, man. Incredible stuff.
Just to do a Wardlow segue, I mean, dude is underrated. My favorite was, and he had to have that Cody. MJF had to have that Cody match where he put Cody through the trials and they whipped him, and then they did it to Wardlow, and Wardlow just shook it off. When they're whipping his back, and they're like he's just like, Like that was such a money moment. Like that was the best right there. And I don't know. I know what's going on. But anyways,
when he got 10 lashes, he didn't flinch once. That's insane.
Instead of flinching, he just went like that. So, anyways,
Jeez.
Come on, TK. We need the War Dog back. Bring him in. If you need ideas for booking them, we've got them a list.
Just rewind our few episodes.
Yep, and then and soon we got to start booking Brian Cage to come back too. So we'll get that going.
Yep.
But I would like us to talk about this main event. For the best in the women's division right here.
3 title holders and maybe 1 future title holder.
Yes, definitely one future title holder is
there you go.
holder. She's a title holder. But I felt like the 4 of these ladies really did fantastic. And interestingly, Toni Storm was the least involved in this match. I mean, she definitely made her presence known. But this like almost like the enemy of my enemy kind of thing again. This kind of interesting, I want to say rivalry, but this frenemy kind of thing between Athena and Mercedes is really good. They, and it's another one of those things where they don't just suddenly go, "Oh, we're friends now." They're clearly still a little bit. They're clearly still salty with each other, but it definitely is pretty, because these are two major egos clashing. I think shoot wise, I think they have great chemistry, but in storyline, the chemistry's there, but it's antagonistic and like reluctant tag team partners. I think Athena was fantastic in this match, and I have really come around on Mercedes. Yes, as a heel, boo, Mercedes, stinky hoe. But as a person, shoot wise, I feel like Mercedes has really found her stride. I think it can't, like we've talked about how match wise it came after she had that first match with Statlander. I think her she's found her personality. I think Harley Cameron helped with that a lot, but she's really come into her own. So, I know backstage people talking about locker room this, locker room that. She's got her own locker room. She's got all this, but you know what? She's doing very well, and I thought this match was fantastic. Also, Toni Storm, get in my belly.
I know, that was funny.
Well, when in Scotland, she does a fat bastard reference. Not sure how the Scots took that, whether it was an insult or not. But to me, the highlight of the match, even I think Alex Windsor was fantastic. I always really impressed with her. But I felt like Athena was doing things in this match that were just next level. There was an arm drag that Toni Storm did. She did and Athena turned it into a flip and landed on her feet. There were several moments where Athena was just out maneuvering the moves. And I'm sure it was, these again are 4 great dance partners, but you've got 4 of the best in the women's division right here. And they put 100%. On a phenomenal show. The audience was not reflective of how good this match was, because there were several moments where they were mouse peeing on cotton's quiet, and they should have been. They looked like Toni Storm stole their haggis, but there were some incredible moments. That dive that Mercedes did was incredible, or in Athena doing some crazy moves.
Yeah.
Windsor, there were times where I thought Windsor was shoot hurt, and then that was it Toni Storm getting her bell rung. I think she had to be healthy. I don't think she shoot hurt. I think it was part of the, oh no, is Toni going to lose at Forbidden Door? My favorite part, I really thought the finish was very, very compelling, because with all the chaos that was going on, when Alex Windsor locked in the, I guess, sharpshooter, or is it the Clover, whatever, maybe it's the London Bridge or something. I don't know. She's going to call it. Oh, no. You know what it is? It's a Windsor knot. That's what it should be called.
There you go.
Windsor,
I like it.
Your finisher should be the Windsor knot. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. But
Great
I love
idea.
this because Mercedes tapped. And
You're right.
you visually saw Mercedes tap, but Aubrey had
Heavily.
to tell her, no, she's not the legal woman. And out of nowhere, like an RKO, out of nowhere,
Right.
Athena with the O face got the 1, 2, 3. I thought that was such a fantastic finish to a great match. And like I said, I'm saddened that my people, my Scots, did not cheer for this match like they should have. I was cheering. I thought it was fantastic. And I'm just surprised because I thought the ending was very compelling. We got a visible tap from Mercedes. So is Windsor going to get the win or no? And Athena picked up the 1, 2, 3. Is she going to walk out with the championship, or are they going to retain? Windsor shooter. We got Windsor shooter.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think this was definitely a better match than I expected, I guess, a lot. Because, like I said, 3 titles between, 3 AEW / Ring of Honor titles between 4 women on this. And Windsor is quickly becoming more heavily featured into the spotlight of the women's division. But I did love the teaming of this. And it's fun to have, and it plays its role perfectly to have your baby faces vulnerable and losing leading into a match, so you have a better payoff at the end with who you want to win. Not to spoil too much of the shoot as of my picks or not, but does Windsor have enough to dethrone Mercedes? Is this where Mercedes is going to lose one of her titles because she's not even going to be pinned? It's the same thing with that triple threat with the tag team title. I did love this match, and the recent pairing of Windsor and Toni Storm, I think, has been a lot of fun. They're playing well off each other. And, back to circle what I said earlier in the show about Danielson on commentary, I think he did such a great job of, really selling Windsor and her style and her speed. They kept talking about her speed and her dominance. And she is a good mix of I think she's very, you kind of cross compared her to, and these are not bad comparisons. She's her own woman in and of herself and everything she does. But you kind of cross compared her to Thunder. I think she's more of a Jamie Hayter style, like with her more aggressive stuff.
I think she's a mix. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. I see Hayter, but I see a Thunder Rosa in her too. I do see that. Like, I think if you took DNA from both of them, you would get an Alex Windsor.
Right.
If you take Thunder and Hayter, you would get Windsor.
But overall, man, this is a great and well-deserved main event spotlight for the ladies. And I'm really excited for what's in store for the 2 ladies matches so far on Forbidden Door with that 4-way TBS title, as well as the AEW Women's World title with Athena and Toni Storm. I really want, and I think the announce team, correct me if I'm wrong, they said that Mina is challenging Athena for the ROH World title at the upcoming pay-per-view in Philadelphia in 10 days. I think it's in 10 days, yeah.
Yeah, we love Mina around these parts.
I said the key word and hit the button.
Yes, exactly. When you say her name, she appears. You want to talk about the draft? I mean, there were only 3 matches, but I guess we ought to.
Let's do draft right now. So at this week and any pay-per-view week, we know a lot is at stake, and we're looking at Forbidden Door and Collision and Dynamite. I haven't added it up like I did it all in. Plus, it's going to be another, 59-man tag team match and one of the buy-in matches. So we're probably looking at anywhere between a 40 and 50-point swing this week. Yeah. I know we have a lot of teams, a lot at stake, and someone is very hot right now. But let's see where we're standing as of now after Dynamite. Whew, Steven is just taking a commanding lead, and it is just. Whew,
The
a
brain.
lot going on there.
Steven is the brain, man. I'm telling you, he's the computer. He's like supercomputer. Steven supercomputer Chambers. It's like he's got
Fletcher's playing huge dividends. Moxley's been wrestling a ton. I'm looking at his team right now.
Yeah.
And he's got Fletcher, Tekla, Moxley, Shibata. We got Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly. So he's got the Paragon right now, or the conglomeration. They keep going back and forth what they're going to be called, if Kyle's going to be part of the conglomeration or not. Yuta, Toy Leona, Gabe Kidd, Darius Martin. So, man, his team is on the rise, and he's still got a lot of relevant wrestlers, man. So
here's my theory. Ranger Man was in a clear lead, but I think
for a while.
Steven is an evil genius. That's his nickname. Steven's the evil genius. He's Lex Luthor, and he found some kryptonite for Ranger Man, because Ranger Man is now like he's 9 points behind Steven. Now, granted, the rest of us are even worse, but Ranger Man was in the lead for a long time. And now there's not a whole. I don't know, man. This is kind of evil genius Steven Luthor, Lex Luthor here, Lex Chambers. He's pulling an SPD this draft.
I know, man. It's a mountain to climb still. So So Ranger Man's in the chat on Instagram. He said Steven paid off the booker, so he's got.
Yep. Yeah, we need an investigation. We need to find out what Steven's got. He and Will Washington are like this or something.
Yeah, they paid off the booker.
Yep.
Let's roll into our top performers of the night.
Absolutely.
I had to pick that guy, man, Bandito. Got to pick him. I mean, to me, that tag team match is the match of the night, and consistently, Matt, I just can't. If we should start keeping track. Maybe that's something we do for a goal for 2026 of how many top performers each wrestler gets. But Bandito has got to be one of the most consistent one here on Dynamite Download for our top performer. The guy is just having a hell of a year so far, and it's been so fun, whether it be in a tag team match, multi-man match, solo match, Ring of Honor matches, all the way back to his Jericho feud when he came back. And so this guy is just having a heck of a year. And Danielson gave his flowers to Bandito as well on commentator, said he was his wrestler of the year so far. So, and I'm sure you agree with my choice. And, I think your choice is just equally as good too with Athena.
I mean, I totally understand. Bandito was my other choice. I had two others as backups I was considering, but yeah, Bandito's fantastic. Bandito is on our short list, I think, for our year-end awards for
sure.
standout performer. I think there's going to be a lot. I think we're going to see a lot from him. We'll talk about predictions if he's going to be getting some tag team gold or not tomorrow night, but I think he definitely is deserving top performer. I just was so wowed with how Athena was running that match last night. Again, for the best in AEW. But Athena, the things that she was doing in the match where I felt like she was just she clocked into work, she showed up, she ate her Wheaties, and her personality, and not just the moves, but she was like creating story. Clearly, her and Mercedes were playing off that tension. She was playing, creating great moments with Tony Storm and Windsor, and that finish was fantastic. So yeah, and I love. It's great to have Athena back on AEW television and not stuck in Ring of Honor. She's carried Ring of Honor, but now I think it's time for us to really get to see why Athena's been so good at Ring, has been good for so long, and it's great for her to be appreciated for that. So great stuff.
100%. I'm excited for what's in store for her moving on, but tomorrow night is going to be our Forbidden Door preview show. Yes. What time is good for you, mine? We got 9 again?
Yeah, let's do 9 o'clock. That'd be good.
9 o'clock tomorrow. We're in kind of we'll go back to 9 o'clock in interest of time and all that for you and your schedule, mine. But Forbidden Door, man, it took like every little bit of me to kind of bite my lip and not kind of talk about what's in store for this, because quickly it became a huge marquee pay-per-view with some very big implications and very big matches. And I did not expect it to be this big. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, TK is putting on some chess moves right here with Forbidden Doors booking right there, but I can't wait. So y'all, thank you for joining us, and thanks for adjusting your time and coming to us on the 9 o'clock hour on a little last minute swing. Moving forward, we're going to be going to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard for our Dynamite Download shows on Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow for your Forbidden Door preview show. If you can't make it, and if you for your picks, if you're part of our draft, definitely send us a DM on any of our social channels so you can put your picks in for our bingo card. On top of the picks, the tiebreaker will be for the main event time limit. So always add that too. We will see you tomorrow, and thanks for joining us on Dynamite Download episode 203. It's great to be back, everyone.
Great to have you back. Good night, everybody.